John Calvin on Psalm 73, verses 18 through 24. Surely thou didst set them in slippery places. Thou castest them down into destruction. How are they brought into desolation, as in a moment? They are utterly consumed with terrors. As a dream when one awaketh, so, O Lord, when thou awakest, thou shalt despise their image. Thus my heart was grieved, and I was pricked in my reins. So foolish was I, and ignorant. I was as a beast before thee. Nevertheless, I am continually with thee. Thou hast holden me by my right hand. Thou shalt guide me with thy counsel, and afterward receive me to glory. As a dream when one awakes, so when you arise, O Lord, you will despise them as fantasies. This takes place not only when God restores to some measure of order matters which before were involved in confusion, but also in dispelling the darkness he gladdens our minds with a friendly light. We never, it is true, see things so well adjusted in the world as we would desire, for God, with the view of keeping us always in the exercise of hope, delays the perfection of our state to the final day of judgment. But whenever he stretches forth his hand against the wicked, he causes us to see, as it were, some rays of the break of day, that the darkness, thickening too much, may not lull us to sleep, and affect us with dullness of understanding. Yet I am always with you. Men are said to be with God in two ways, either first, in respect of apprehension and thought, when they are persuaded that they live in his presence, are governed by his hand, and sustained by his power, or secondly, when God, unperceived by them, puts upon them a bridle by which, when they go astray, he secretly restrains them and prevents them from totally apostatizing from him. In short, God is always near his chosen ones. For although they sometimes turn their backs upon him, he nevertheless has always his fatherly eye towards them. You hold me by my right hand. David ascribes it completely to the grace of God that he was enabled to restrain himself from breaking forth into open blasphemies and from hardening himself in error, and that he was also brought to condemn himself as foolishness. This he ascribes wholly to the grace of God, who stretched out his hand to hold him up and prevent him from a fall which would have involved him in destruction. From this we see how precious our salvation is in the sight of God, for when we wander far from him, he yet continues to look upon us with a watchful eye, and to stretch forth his hand to bring us to himself. We must indeed beware of perverting this doctrine by making it a pretext for slothfulness, but experience nevertheless teaches us that when we are sunk in drowsiness and insensibility, God exercises a care about us, and that even when we are fugitives and wanderers from him, he is still near us.